You're watching YouTube. We interrupt this program to take you live to our newsroom. Be a breaking news reporter, they said. It'll be fun, they said. It'll be a really easy job, just sitting about waiting for some news to break. Well, let me tell you, it's not fun. It's rubbish. Oh, that's that smell. Oh, I know what that smell is. That's the tangerine I started to eat last week and I had to shove under my desk because some news broke and forgot about it. Now it stinks. I am bursting for a pee. I can't even go because as soon as I go, news will break and I'll have to run through with my trousers around my ankle. Right. I'm going to do some Amazon wishlist admin to distract me. You just know you'll be in the middle of a pee and then suddenly... Oh, there's a joke there. That's quite funny. I can't laugh though because if I laugh, news will break and I'll be criticised for laughing during terrible breaking news. I know, I'll write a note to myself. Laugh at this news joke later on. Underline it. Very funny joke. Right, I'm prepared. So when I leave here, I can then remind myself about this and laugh at that joke when I'm free of... Actually, I might forget. It was a very funny joke. Write that down. Yes. Great. What shall I do? BookTube with Simon. I've got one of those to watch. Oh, no one's that desperate. We'll just leave that till later. I'll maybe draw a picture of... Oh, we've got some news. Right, I'm ready. Right, serious face now. Prepared to do some news reading. Here we go. Opening titles. Da 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 da. Now you're watching the news live, and we're crossing to Downing Street for a Prime Ministerial statement. Yes, hello, this is the Prime Minister here. I'm the Prime Minister of this country, and not your country if you're watching somewhere else. I have to tell you, I have to tell the British people and other people who might be watching, I have to tell you that every time Simon sings, people, they unsubscribe. So I'm going to ask Professor Whitty, my friend, he has some facts. Please tell the people facts. Yes, I'm here with some facts. Every time that Simon sings, this chart shows the subscription levels of BookTube with Simon are climbing embarrassingly slowly, really quite pathetic. But when he sings, they actually fall. They've fallen twice. He has to stop doing this. He has to stop singing. If he stops singing, people will unsubscribe less often. The landscape cannot survive another stampede of animals escaping the singing. I have to give the British people an instruction, and it is this. You must stop singing, Simon. Now, roll the titles. Get those titles rolled. Roll them. Roll the titles. Hello, you're watching BookTube with Simon. Well, actually, you're not, because I haven't uploaded it yet, because you're in the future. And when you do watch it, I won't be saying this anymore, because I'll be rocking in a corner, crying, having lost more subscribers, because you're all slowly learning that my jokes will never improve. Although, I am watching myself in the viewfinder of the camera, so I suppose you are watching BookTube with Simon in as much as you are me. But is this BookTube with Simon if it's just in the viewfinder and not on YouTube? Oh, the questions of life. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about quite a different book from my usual fare. It's Frank, Get in the Door by Janey Godley. And it's difficult to review actually this book because it's not a real book. No, it is a real book, in that it is a book that I'm holding and it exists, like real. But it's not a fiction book or a non-fiction book. It's actually not a... This is what I would describe as a poo book. It's the sort of book that you provide to visitors to read while they're on the loo. It's a novelty book, and so it's difficult to actually give an insightful analysis about this. And a normal person would therefore say, well, I'll just not review this one. Not me! No, I am up for the challenge of reviewing the unreviewable. And that is this. So, what is it? Is a good question. Let's start there. So, Frank Get the Door is a collection of transcripts of, would you believe it, YouTube. Yes, we've gone full meta. This is a YouTube video about a book based on a YouTube video. In Scotland, we have the Prime Minister in London and the First Minister in Edinburgh, and it's basically like your parents have broken up and they keep arguing about who should be in control of the remote control. And throughout the pandemic, because there's a virus on, in case you didn't know that, the First Minister has been providing us with a daily update as to the situation. And what Janey Godley has done, Janey Godley is a Scottish comedian, she has provided a voiceover to these updates, telling us what she thinks the First Minister is really thinking, such as this.
Hi there, Nicola here. I'm wearing my wee red jacket that I got for our Chantel's dance party. If you've been following my story on the TikTok, yes, we did manage to get a couple of rolls of Anaglypta. We're going up to Big Claire Kelly's house this week, and I'm going to do a wee coat of paint on it, because I'm good at that as well. Hi there, it's Nicola, Shut the Pub Sturgeon. Well, wait till you see what Boris is doing at 6 o'clock. But anyhow, do you think it makes me fucking happy that I've had 7,000 emails telling me I'm the bitch for hell because I've stopped pubs for opening and restaurants? We're in the middle of a pandemic here. I'm trying to stop people from dying. But no, I'm all the badgins. Right, it's like Twitter in real life. Listen, nobody's gained preferential treatment to rugby fans. The rugby is going ahead just so as we can do a wee trial run and see what's happening, because we're in the middle of a pandemic. I don't know if you actually know, right? But see the ball, the shape of the ball, the virus doesn't give a fuck about the shape of the ball. All sports are going to be affected. We're trying our best here. Can you hear me? No. Bye. Next. Now over to Boris, our dear leader, for the track and trace app information.
Combined with contact tracing,
Well, that was as clear as mud. Thanks, that's in. Am I the only person that's froze a whole loaf and then brought it out and realised you had to separate the slices and ended up taking a fucking hammer and chisel to a frozen loaf? Well, that's been my week. Right, Frank, get the door. I've got a cheese and onion toastie ready.
You get the idea. So this book is a collection of transcripts of those YouTube videos. So if you found that short clip funny, then you'll probably find the book funny, and if you didn't, then you probably won't. That's it. That's the review. There's a couple of things I want to talk about with regards to this. Let's just start with the content. So it is quite funny. There are some moments that made me laugh out loud, which, I mean, who doesn't like to laugh out loud? No one can be provided with a thing that brings you so much joy you laugh out loud and then not like it. So that's a good thing. But what I did find is that as soon as she cottoned onto a joke that was quite funny, she used it about 10 days in a row. So there's no mention of a clicky pen until a certain date, and then as she mutters, "Where's my clicky pen?" we get a clicky pen reference for about 10 days in a row, and it just bits and pieces like that. It's, you know, the same joke is repeated for a few days, and then there's another new joke, and maybe it was supposed to be a running gag and I just didn't get that. But you know, there could have been slightly more mixing up of the jokes rather than having a whole batch of them sequentially. But other than that, I think it did the job. It's kind of funny. So there's a couple of things I've reflected on having read this book, and the first is, why is it funny? There's a particular brand of Scottish humour, particularly Glasgow humour, where my wife constantly shows me these things on her phone, and it's just people who are either actual gallus Scottish people talking like that, or people dubbing people with that sort of thing, and I just don't usually find it very funny. It just baffles me. Like, the fact that you are not pronouncing your words properly doesn't make it funny. The fact that you're saying inane and annoying things is not funny. Nothing's funny. Why is it funny in this scenario? Well, the reason I find it funny in this scenario, I think, is because it's the perfect storm of bits and pieces. So, first of all, I know who she is. That's part of the joke. I'm aware of who the First Minister is, and so that is one thing in its favour. Secondly, the situation is one that I think it's fair to say we are all now quite familiar with as well, and in particular, and I don't think this is unique to the Scottish First Minister by any means, but world leaders have been trying to have all these press conferences and briefings and things to say what is fundamentally something very simple and for the most part unchanged for much of the year. I mean, it's not complicated, it's not pleasant, it's not fun, but it's not complicated. It is stay at home, try not to see people. If you do have to see people, stay as far away from them as you can and wash your hands. That's kind of the message. It's always been the message. So trying to find new ways to say it is a struggle, and then what I think is particularly good in this book is the fact that the press keep coming up with new questions which are just a spin on existing questions, and it doesn't change the fundamental answer or the fundamental situation. So the exasperation that I think all world leaders must have felt at some stage throughout this crisis is very well illustrated in this book, where she just lets rip and says in her typically Scottish way, for goodness sake, just shut up and get on with it. The second reason I'm happy to have this book is because it is a record of our times. Every kind of major event in my life, I know what I was reading at the time, and this has been an unusual year. There's just something I like about having a representation of this bizarre year permanently on my bookcase. It's part of the national record of what happened, and the fact that it's a bit funny is even better. I read a lot of political memoirs, and I enjoy that because it charts our life and our progress through our time on earth, and I think it's nice to have this volume. And there is something quite endearing about the Nicola Sturgeon of this book, whose feet are always killing her, who wants a pasty and a cup of tea and a plate of soup, and she's wearing the outfit that she got for Big Sandra's engagement party, all that kind of thing. Obviously these press briefings are formal occasions, and it's just, like I say, endearing to have this kind of frivolous, humanised side to the politician or politicians that are here. This whole pandemic has given us some really frustrating moments in Scotland. Our chief medical officer having been on television adverts telling everybody the importance of staying at home and not travelling unless it's completely essential, then travelled to her second home and did a walking trip. She resigned quite quickly after that, and you just know that the First Minister must have been banging her head off the desk like, for crying out loud, Catherine Calderwood, why are you doing this to me? So here we get the reaction that we feel is probably more genuine than the much more dignified response that you would get in the press briefing. And third, is it okay to laugh about coronavirus? So my view here is a bit more nuanced, and you might have a different opinion, but I think the answer is yes, it is okay. to laugh about the situation. There are obviously aspects and consequences to what's happening that are in no way funny. Nobody is laughing about people who have become ill or lost their lives or lost their livelihoods, and you know, we all feel desperately sorry for people who are struggling or suffering as a result of what's going on at the moment. But it's a very British thing to look in the face of adversity and laugh. We can't control very much of the situation, but we can control how we react to it. And by any stretch, being instructed to stay at home for large portions of the year is an unusual situation, and one that we're all going through. Many of us are working from home, and that brings with it just strange, bizarre, funny circumstances that many of us can relate to, or at least appreciate the nonsense that comes as part of that. There is nothing wrong with acknowledging the humour and craziness of a situation, provided that you appreciate that we're all having different experiences and that this is all affecting us in different ways. Which brings us nicely to the denouement of the video. Yes, this might be a fairly terrible review of an unreviewable book, but I thought I would share some of the giggles with you anyway. And of course, this channel, as you know, it's the place where we get ourselves through this pandemic with jokes and with nonsense and with music, because nothing lifts the soul like letting yourself sing. Although, as the opening sketch reminded us all, when I sing, things go wrong. People don't like it when I sing. They love the songs, hate the singer. Allow me to read this comment from my most recent video where I sang what I have to say was a heartwarming and beautiful version of Jingle Bells. This is from Kit's World. And he says, "Your musical interlude was confusing. For a while, you almost sang all the correct notes, and I was impressed, though nauseated. But then you returned to form and invented new notes hitherto unexplored by Homo sapiens, and all was right with the world again." Thanks, mate. Appreciate those kind words. So, I get the message, folks. I am not going to sing. I understand this. If I keep singing, you will keep unsubscribing, and then I will just be sitting in a room talking to myself. But I do feel that we need a proper big musical finale to this otherwise underwhelming review, because at the moment, at time of recording, there are debates happening in the Houses of Parliament about putting 99% of England back into a strict lockdown. Here in the Central Belt in Glasgow, we are in a lockdown almost as strict as it was in March, where most of the country is staying at home. All the essential shops are closed. There's lockdowns all over the world, and we just need to cheer ourselves up while we are locked down again. It's December, and this is just weird. So, love the song, hate the singer. The answer was staring me in the face. Yeah, it's the viewfinder again. This is the problem. I'm looking at him. I mean, nice hat, good, but no. So, I am delighted to introduce you to our brand new house band, which means I don't have to sing anymore. Please give a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, with lockdown again, it is Mariana and the Bouquets.
Oh, we're locked down again, like we were in springtime. Yeah, we're locked down again, like we were all year. Do you remember when you could hug a stranger? Yeah, locked down again, Christmas time is near. Stay in, wash hands, don't mix, behave, she says again. Frank at the door, Nickel again, your pins of hand. Simon won't sing again, like he did in summer. His voice sounds like I got screaming in fear.
Bravo, bravo. See, I bet nobody unsubscribes this time. Right, thank you for watching. I'm sorry this has been terrible. My next review will be better. Bon voyage.
Right, I'm heading home. I've had enough. Where's my clicky pen? Fucking feet are killing me. Frank, get the door! I want a wee steak pie supper the day.